mistake, right?
Jesus.
Right. So big mistake. So we go to Lenox Mall on a Saturday and we're walking through Lenox Mall, and Lena and I see something we had never seen before. And if you've been in Lenox Mall, you probably know where I'm going with this, right? And like, I don't care. So we're not going to play around right now,
Yeah.
right? So there is an agenda in our country that is
sure.
anti-Christ. It hides behind the guise of love, and I could be who I want, and you could do what you want, but there is a judgment coming, and we all gonna have to pay the price for the decisions we're making right now.
100%.
So there is a demonic agenda hiding behind the guise of love that is very pervasive in our city.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it real. I already know you're probably gonna get hate speech for this, and they're gonna throw DM, but we don't care though, right?
No.
So Lena and I go to Lenox Mall, and we're walking through the mall, and we sit down on a bench and we just cry, right? And I'll never forget, we're weeping. It's our first week in Atlanta, and as I'm sitting there, the Lord speaks to me. I hear the Lord say to me so clearly in my heart, "This city is masked in religion, and it is steeped in perversion." I will never forget those words. And since we've been here, 2010, in the 14 years we've been here, that has come to be exactly what the Lord told me. I've come to realize that this city in Atlanta is a hyper-religious city. So there is a mask, a veneer of religion, but what's behind that veneer is perversion. There is perversion in the pulpit, perversion in the pew. You know, there's perversion in the ecclesiology of what's going on in Atlanta. It is hyper-perverted. I mean, you have men who are married to men and have churches in Atlanta. You have people who promote alternate agendas that are anti-Christ and are preaching. You have false prophets. I feel like calling some names, but I won't even go there. You have false prophets who are famous, right, in Atlanta, preaching, who speak evil of our Lord, who says things about our Lord that is blasphemous, right? But for the sake of his fame, and for the sake of their notoriety, we give them a pass. There's a difference between a mistake and iniquity, right?
Yeah.
We make mistakes, but iniquity is when you love your sin. And every time we pop up, like you a serial adulterer, you have all these. So anyway, so you have all these false prophets in our city. You have people with an ulterior motive in our city. You have also our city has a veneer of religion, but behind that veneer, it is very, very perverted all across the city. And then Atlanta, because Atlanta is a hub for, it's like a black Mecca, right? So because it's a hub for the entrepreneur and for the business professional and for all these Fortune 500 companies, because it's an international and global city, right? There is a gospel here that appeals to the humanistic side of human beings. It is prosperity, but it's not prosperity that has morphed into a neo-prosperity gospel that puts you at the center of every text. You are the hero of every text. You are the hero of every sermon. You are the hero of every Sunday morning proclamation. And so instead of just telling people straight out, come to Christ, he's going to give you a house and a car, now it's the Lord exists for you. And the Lord is here to fulfill your vision board. And everything is it's a self-help gospel that is neo-prosperity that wraps itself around the guys. Watch this. Can we be honest? Around your purpose, your desire, your will, what you want to do, your vision board, and all of the preaching is to facilitate what you want to do. That is a new version of the prosperity gospel that I think is more dangerous because it's cancerous and it's undetected. So it sits just under the surface of our senses. And we sit back in these churches and we eat that up. And so we leave these churches thinking about my own personal will and agenda and how I can twist God's arm to support that. We're not leaving these churches feeling convicted over our sin, feeling like, how am I being a better steward? How am I wringing out the sin in my own heart? How am I serving God? What is God's mission and how does my life flow into that mission? If my life along with your life are just tributaries, how are these tributaries, men, women, flowing into the river of the Great Commission and what God has called us to do? But no, that's not. Our preaching is not preparing us for that. It's not preparing us to suffer well. It's not preparing us to sacrifice. It's not preparing us, can I go deeper? For eternity.